Hello everybody, it is Kyle from Wild Enrichment, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build a very easy wooden puzzle feeder. All you're going to need is a 4x4 or some sort of post like this, and a few small pieces of plywood, along with a few basic power tools like a drill. A saw would be great. You can do this by hand if you really want a good workout, but this is a very easy puzzle feeder that I find that you can use with a large variety of animals. It is somewhat complex for the animals, but it's very easy for you to build. So I'm just gonna be walking you through how I'd go about building this. All right, so really there's two main parts to this build. There's going to be the blocks that you're gonna cut out of this 4x4, and then there's going to be the plywood box that these guys fit into. And once they're in boxes, once they're in the box, you're actually going to drill holes that you can put food items and different things like that inside, and then they need to be pulled carefully out of the box in order to come out. So the first step would be to take this piece of 4x4 and turn it into a little cube like this. And in order to do that, you're going to take a tape measure and just measure the width of this piece of wood. So this guy is a 4x4, which means it's about 3.5 inches around. So although that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, that's just the way it is. So you're gonna measure just about 3.5, and you're going to cut at about 3.5. So you can mark it right there and cut your first cube, and you're going to cut as many as you want, but in this version I'm going to be cutting 3. So all these measurements are going to be to fit 3 4x4 cubes inside of your box. And again, once you cut them, I know this isn't the same kind of wood, so this is a perfect little square here. So you're going to cut 3 just like that. So measure at 3.5 and cut them, and then we'll go to the next step. All right, so once you have cut your 3 pieces of 4x4, they should look something like this. You have 3 blocks that are going to fit perfectly together, and they're going to be just about the same size. So the next step is going to be to build the little plywood box that these are going to fit inside. And to do that, you're going to cut 5 different pieces of this plywood here. I've gone with a little bit thicker plywood. This is a 3/4 inch plywood. Just allows you to screw into it a little bit better without it cracking. We're going to be pre-drilling all our holes to make sure that it doesn't crack, but if you can get a 3/4 inch plywood like this, or even thicker, that would be great. You could also use 2x4s if you really wanted to, with a plywood base. But if you can get your hands on 3/4 inch or somewhere around 1/2 inch, that will work best. So this box is really going to be made up of the base, and then there's going to be 2 sides on either end, and then these little end caps that are the same size as one of our blocks. So I'll show you what that's going to look like. All right, so this is the unassembled box that these guys are going to fit in. Try to do this without collapsing the whole thing. But as you can see, basically these 4x4s fit inside, and then they have to be pulled out by the animal in order for them to get the food that you're going to put inside of these. So the first step is really going to be to assemble this. Generally, I start with this portion of it. So you're going to screw this outer box together. It's a little hard to do. And then you're going to screw it to the base here. So I'll start by screwing in the frame, and then I will show you what that looks like, and then we will put it to the base here. All right, so I have assembled this, and by the way, I've left these pieces long at the top just in case you wanted to put a lid on the top of this, just to make it a little bit harder for the animal in the future. But basically This is a 1.25 feet long on either side, and it is 4 inches and 1/4 high here. So, and then these blocks are 3.5 by 3.5. So, by the way, all of these measurements, the instructions will be linked to this video, so or on my website, wildandrichmond.com. So if you want those, you can look up block puzzle feeder, and it'll be right there if you guys have any questions about that. So the next step is going to be to put these two together. Started to lightly rain a little bit, which is unfortunate, but yeah, so the next step is going to be to screw the box bottom to the actual frame of the box. All right, so now that you have secured your box, your block pieces should fit in there and come out. I generally do like using screws without wood glue because you can back them out a little bit, just in case your measurements weren't maybe perfect. They might be a really tight fit, which might be a little bit too hard for whatever you're gonna give it to. So you can back these screws out just a hair if you need an extra 1/8 of an inch or something to make them a little bit more able to come out. You can see the end is a little bit tight here, so you can adjust that. But the next portion of this is going to be to drill holes right in the center of these blocks. So you can use, depending on what you're going to give it to, different size drill bit. For this, I've used a 1-inch spade bit here, and that's just going to make a 1-inch hole right in the middle. So you may want to make that smaller or bigger, or even multiple holes, depending on whatever you're giving it to. And you can do this on both sides of the block, one side of the block. Again, it's completely up to you. So yeah, let's drill those holes, and we'll just have one more step after that. All right, so have all 3 drilled just like this. And as you can see, these are just scrap pieces of 4x4. You really don't need anything fancy. You probably have similar things laying around that you can use. So I have these 4 holes, and the next thing we're gonna do is put these little eye bolts at the top of each one, so they can be pulled out of the box by the animal that you're going to give it to. So this is going to really depend on what you want to give it to. You can attach little fire hose loops, or a bunch of different, maybe some rope, something like that. That's just going to be able to make it a little easier to pull out, or you can skip this step altogether. It's really up to you. I'm just going to put these just at the top here, and then that's pretty much the last step, so I'll show you what it looks like when it's all done. All right, so this is the final product here. You can see if you pull on one of these little eye bolts, it just comes out there. So that is really how you're gonna set it up. And you can put things like seeds, mealworms, different food items, scents, all that kind of stuff. Put it in there, set it up, and then the animal has to reach in and take all these blocks out. As I said before, I left this little top here so you can put a lid without kind of bumping into these guys. If you wanted to put a lid, all you need is another piece that you use for the bottom here, and then you just place that on top. You could even put some hinges and a locking mechanism if you really wanted to make it challenging. But yeah, guys, this is a very, very easy puzzle feeder that you probably have the materials for just laying around. So look for these, and let me know how it goes. It's a very, very easy puzzle feeder to build. So good luck, guys, and I'll see you next time.